gameplay commentary or more of a race review of the British Grand Prix. This is some F1 2012 gameplay. What I Nico Rosberg, who won the race last weekend, and I didn't do qualifying. I just skipped straight to the race. Well, race only option. 25% race, and I'm starting fourth. So not where he started in real life. He started second. But I'm just gonna see how close I can get, see if I can win the race, and I'm just gonna be reviewing the race that actually happened. Just gonna change my strategy a bit. It always puts you on cautious, which is a bit irritating sometimes. And if we look at the grid, we'll see my teammate. Well, it's Michael Schumacher in this game, but it's Lewis Hamilton in real life. Lewis Hamilton still took pole in the game, so the game's getting something right. Vettel second, Schumacher, Rosberg, Alonso, Grosjean, Raikkonen, blah, 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 blah. But there's a lot of interesting things to talk about the race that happened in real life. Overall, I have to say, it was a good race, entertainment-wise, but there were... Well, it was extremely entertaining, I think, in the last 10 or so laps after the last safety car, but there were a lot of problems, or tire problems to be specific, that I'm going to discuss also in this commentary. Now, off to the start. We'll just pretend Hamilton's in a Mercedes car, okay? For this game. And lights 1, 2, 4, 5. Immediately put that up. So overtake Schumacher, get Vettel, but he's still there alongside me. He gets back on the next corner. Gonna try and overtake him in turn 3. Go wide, gets back, and walk up and hit the back of him. Nothing too big, no penalty or anything. And now we're going through turn 4, I think. Now that was the problem. At least that's what people think of the problem, the curbs there. Now, Nico Rosberg won the race, but he was a bit lucky to win. In my opinion, I think if no tire problems had occurred, I think it would have been Hamilton or Vettel on pace alone. And the start, that kind of put Webber out of contention. But then what happened was Hamilton, well, there was a series of tire failures. Hamilton got a puncture going down the Wellington Straight, which was the straight after turn 4. Then I think it was Felipe Massa. He got a puncture. I'm not too sure exactly what happened because he went over the curb of turn 4 and then he spun out. He spun around. And obviously, I think the puncture was caused a little bit before, and as he was going through, the tire blew up. Then we had a third puncture, Jean-Eric Byrne. He was coming down into the corner I'm going into right now. He had it right there. I think it was a 190 mile per hour blowout, and Raikkonen was right behind him. So just like it is in the game. But then after that we had the safety car, and then it looked for a second like it might be a battle between Vettel and Rosberg. Rosberg was, I think, around 2 seconds, and he was trying his hardest to close in, and he was closing in a little bit. It was happening, so it might have been a battle. I'm not too sure, but we never got to see it because then Vettel's gearbox decided to eat itself up, and he came to a park on the start-finish straight, which allowed Rosberg to get a lead. And then there was a safety car deployed, I think, because his car was parked there. And then after that safety car came out, there was one more tire puncture, Sergio Perez, coming down the straight, and he almost, well, it looked for a second like Fernando Alonso was going to get taken out, but that guy has amazing reflexes, and he just dodged. He was coming up right behind Sergio Perez because the DRS on down that straight now, Anger Straight, I think. I'm not too sure. So, overall, I think the last 10 laps of racing, they were really, really interesting. Because after the safety car, everyone had bunched up, and everyone was sort of just going for it. The teams that told the driver, stay off the curbs, be careful of the tires, there might be a puncture that might occur, but the drivers did not care at all. They were just attacking the curbs, going for it. And Webber almost won the race. I think if there had been one more lap, he would have taken it from Rosberg, but in the end, Rosberg being very opportunistic, just like his dad. But I think the question here is what caused tire problems. There, people have said, oh, it's the curbs in Silverstone, and other people have said, oh no, it's completely the tire fault. I think it's sort of a combination of three factors: the curbs, the tires, and the drivers really trying to push track limits. Now, I'm just going to explain. See, when the curbs were blamed, the head of the BDRC, BRDC, I think, British Racing Driver Association, I'm not even sure. British Racing Driver Club, I think. Don't quote me on that. But he said that the curbs cannot be blamed because they've been there since 2009 and they've been raced on by F1 cars and by a variety of cars. There's been no tire delaminations or punctures. At the same time, I've been on online forums and stuff, and there's been a lot of people saying he's right in some ways, but the curb at the corner, which was causing the problem, was not there. That curb was recently implemented. Now, I'm not 100% sure on this, so it's sort of 50-50. I don't know, but there was also a video of Gary Anderson pointing out that the curb and turn, the turn where the problem was caused, I'm not sure if this was specific to only that curb or if all the curbs had that problem. It had slightly raised, it caused raised red and white stripes, as you can see, I think, on the curbs that I'm going over in the game. And they cause a zigzag type thing. And I think that's there on all curbs, I'm not too sure. But it seems that if you cut the corner, not cut the corner, use the curb a bit less, then what happens is the inside of your tire is not affected by the zigzag. But if you really try and use the curb to the maximum, as Hamilton says, the fastest lap in game, but if you really try and use the curb to the maximum, like I think I might do on this lap, then the inside of your tire gets, cut, and then a puncture occurs. But all the punctures seem to be left rears. For some reason, left fronts didn't happen, but I think that's because, the rears are slightly wider than the front tires, and they're a bit more out of the car, so it's easier for the curbs to happen. Curbs to puncture the tires. Curbs to happen. So that's really my opinion on tires, and now Pirelli are changing the tires for next race. Instead of, the real controversy surrounds the steel belts that they use now. So instead they're going to go back to using the Kevlar belts, which they were using in 2012. And then I think they're returning completely back to 2012 spec tires in Hungary. And they also have some tests that FIA has pretty much just torn up the rule book on tests and said they're going to have, I think, around 3 tests with the teams they're going to invite, and they're also going to have a young drivers test with actual racing drivers. It's not really a young drivers test at Silverstone. I think, can't remember the date. I think it's July 21st, July 20 something. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. So overall, I think it was a good race. It's completely shadowed by the tires, though, by the problems with the tires and pretty much like that. But some great racing in the last few laps, and Alonso and Raikkonen will be pretty happy because first it looked like Vettel was going to win, and he would just increase his lead of 36 points even further. But didn't happen. He retired. Rosberg took his second win of the season. Alonso managed to get a podium, not expected after his qualifying position. Not expected that. Webber fought all the way back from, I think he was 14th after the start because of contact with Grosjean. I don't think that was Grosjean's fault. But he fought back all the way to second, almost won the race. Great job. Now on the question of Webber, I think something interesting is how the Toro Rosso drivers are really trying to fight hard. Now I'm not too sure where Jean-Eric Vergne he retired by the end of the race. But both of them had a fast car, and both of them were doing really good, and I think Daniel Ricciardo finished in the points. He qualified, I think he qualified 6th, but then he started 5th because of the rest of his penalty, and the rest of them managed to finish 9th. Great job by him, I think. If he can finally get the qualifying position he deserves, he'll be on track for a podium maybe next race even. So the Toro Rosso boys, see, Red Bull has pretty much narrowed it down to Kimi Raikkonen and the two Toro Rosso drivers. Now, I think out of those three, Kimi Raikkonen is probably the most sought after for Red Bull, but not sure if Kimi Raikkonen's. Well, obviously, after this race, Lotus made a horrible call. During the safety car, they decided not to pit Raikkonen. Rosberg did pit, and we saw the effect. Raikkonen just flew backwards. I think he was third come the restart, but he finished well out of the podium. I think he was sixth. Seven. Do not put me on these. I'm just gonna pull up web page and just check all these results so that I can tell you. But Weber is going to the WEC World Endurance Championship next year. Going to be driving Porsche. I will be quite excited to see that. It's nice to see Porsche, Audi, and Toyota all going for it. So it'll be interesting to watch next year. He's not a rookie to Le Mans, so he has driven fast cars there before. But his replacement, who's going to be in that seat alongside Vettel. Now, Vettel is probably not going to want someone who is faster than him or is going to challenge him. It says, oh, I just got the race results. Kimi Raikkonen finished 5th, and Felipe Massa finishing 6th. I have to say, amazing start by him, and after the puncture, he managed to get back into 6th. Good race from him. He was really coming alive, attacking everyone. So. Where is Daniel Ricciardo ended up finishing 8th after starting. What is the grid position? He started. Yeah, he started 5th. Okay, yeah. But he ended up finishing 8th, scoring points. So he obviously outperformed outperformed Verne this time. But again, Verne had a great race in Canada, so I'm not too sure who's going to get. If Kimi Raikkonen does not go to Red Bull, I'm not too sure which of the Toro Rosso boys is going to get it. From what I see, Ricciardo seems to be better. Daniel Ricciardo seems to be better at qualifying. Verne seems to be a bit of a better racer. Last year, Ricciardo, I think, won the battle, even though I think Verne scored more points. But this year, not too sure. Verne is really trying his hardest, I think. You can see. So, where we've heard. And another thing I'm really disappointed by is I'm a McLaren fanboy. I love McLaren. And I was really disappointed when they lost the championship last year because they had the fastest car for most of the season. But it was a combination of reliability, horrible pit stops, tire problems. They did not win the championship. They finished 3rd, even though they ended up winning, I think, the last. Button won 3 races, Hamilton won 4. Overall, I think they won 7 races. More than Ferrari. I think almost as much as Red Bull, actually, but their consistency was pretty bad, and they ended up finishing 3rd in the constructors, and their drivers ended up finishing 4th and 5th, I think. So that was a bit disappointing. And now, this year, I was hoping that they would bring it back, and I was quite excited to see Perez, because I wanted to see, because this is the first time, at least when I've been watching F1, when I've seen a rookie get promoted to a top seat, so I was seeing how good he'd do. But it seems that top seat has turned into a midfield drive. McLaren, in my opinion, they're behind Force India. Well, they're behind the teams. I'm going to list them. Red Bull, Ferrari, Lotus, Mercedes, Force India. I think maybe even Toro Rosso. So they're around the 6th or 7th fastest team. And that is just, as I go horribly wide here, and that is just not good enough for a team that last year was doing amazing. They had the fastest car for us to see. But what's happened to them? Well, obviously they've said they haven't taken an evolution approach as most of the teams have done. Most of the teams have just evolved their designs a bit, made tweaks here and there, but they haven't really revolutionized anything. But it seems McLaren has. They've gone for. It may not look that different, but they've done many things underneath the suspension, to the underneath of the car for aerodynamics, blah blah blah, suspension, such. Not too sure exactly what they've done, but they've revolutionized the car, and clearly it's not working out for them at the moment. I think they say it has a lot more potential. They say by the end of the year they're going to be winning races. They've given up on winning the championship, Well, at the beginning of the year, they didn't. They were like, oh, Fernando Alonso had a horrible qualifying first few races. Then he won it. He was so close to winning the championship. But I don't think that's the case for McLaren. I don't think either of their drivers are as good as Alonso. But I'm surprised to see Perez really putting the fight to Button. He's been a bit unlucky in the past few races. Well, Monaco was his fault. Canada, I think he was again close to Button. And here again, I think he was ahead of Button in the points, then his tire blew out. And back in Spain, he should have been able to overtake Button, but then the team order came in and said, maintain your positions, keep 8th and ninth, I think it was. Don't quote me on that again. But they seem to be moving backwards. Now, Button said that the car was the best it had been in a long time. He said the car felt nice to drive. It was the best it had been all year. But clearly, everyone else's car, well, not everyone else's, a lot of the other cars have just improved vastly. So that's a bit weird. So even though the car feels the best, it's clearly not. And it's going to be interesting to see how much they can improve it and if they can win a race by the end of the year. Now, McLaren have done something like this before, 2009. Horrible first part of the year, good second part of the year. Can they make it happen again? I hope so because I'm a McLaren fan. Uh, Lotus has also been falling back a bit. Really, now that I think about it, these new tires that they're bringing in, they're gonna not, they're gonna be helpful for, I think, Mercedes and Red Bull. Because, well, especially Mercedes. Mercedes is a team where the tire problems in the first half of the year were atrocious. They were pretty much just having a trolley train around them so they could conserve the tires. And these new tires are going to be like new life, new hope for this team. Now, the teams that are not, and Red Bull as well, Red Bull probably have one of the fastest cars, tied with Mercedes, I'd say, at the moment. Mercedes have got, I think, around 5 or 6 pole positions this year, but how many have they won? 2. Red Bull, on the other hand, have won, Vettel's won in 3 races, I think. Vettel's won 3 races, yeah. So, they won 2, Red Bull's won 3. But either ways, I think they're tied for the fastest car. Fastest race car, not too sure on that. Pace-wise, Mercedes and Red Bull have the fastest cars. But they also have, I think, tire problems or tire conservation problems that don't allow them to always have the best race car. So they're gonna like this new implementation of steel belt Kevlar belt tires instead, and then back to 2012 spec. So hopefully that's going to help them. The teams that are not going to like this, and we know they don't like this because this isn't. See, next week Pirelli are going to have these Kevlar tires. For the team is going to have to use them, all teams. But they tried to implement them before, I think, after the. I can't remember what race it was. I think after Spain. After Spain, they wanted to implement. After Spain, no, they wanted to implement after Spain. The same thing they're going to implement next week. But 3 teams, I think, objected to it: Ferrari, Lotus, and Ferrari. No, what I'm saying, Ferrari, Lotus, and Force India. Those 3 teams objected to it, and it's quite obvious why they did. They have Force India is doing great this year. They've scored around 57 points, I think, as a team, and they're well on course for 5th in the championship, unless McLaren really pulls it up and gets them. So I think they're guaranteed 5th or 6th. But the thing is, the reason Ferrari, Lotus, and Force India have done so well is sort of because their cars are lighter on the tires. They've designed their car to maybe not be as fast in qualifying, but to be really nice on the tires, to shake hands with the tires and be best friends with them. Not like Ferrari and Red Bull. I mean, not like Mercedes and Red Bull, which are like using the tires as a punching bag pretty much. So obviously they're against this, but now it's 100% implemented. Not too sure how happy any of those teams are going to be, but I don't know if they're going to drop back. If they do drop back, I think it's going to be between Mercedes and Red Bull for the championship. If they don't drop back, I think we might just have a 4-way fight between Lotus, Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull. Really depends on if Lotus can pull it up, because they haven't been doing too well in the past few races. Ferrari has been there, not quite for the win, but podiums definitely. And Massa looks to be back on form if this previous race is anything to go by. And now I'm just going to move down the field and evaluate all the teams as we reach the final few laps. Is that Perez in third? Let me just wait. I looked back a few times. I think I saw Perez. Yes, that's Perez in third. Unexpected. But that definitely didn't happen in real life. I'm going to move down the teams and evaluate them. Red Bull had the pace for the win, didn't win. One of the fastest cars. Mercedes won the race, had the pace for the win as well. Their actual car that had the pace for the win didn't win the race. Their other car did. Great job by their team. They'll be happy. Good job. Fastest car tied with Red Bull. Ferrari, uh, going by the race pace, I think they had the third fastest car. No, third fastest car after the Mercedes and the Red Bulls. Then it was Lotus. Then it was Force India. Then it was Toro Rosso. Then it was McLaren. Then Williams. No. Then Sauber. Then Williams. Wait, let me just check the results and tell you Sauber or Williams get first. No, then Sauber. Then Williams. And then no, actually, sorry. Let me just correct that. What the race pace actually is Force India. Then Toro Rosso. Then Sauber. Then Williams. Then McLaren. Their car finishing 13th and the other car retiring. Then it was the KTM's and the Mauritius. So that's my evaluation. Now coming on to Sauber, Nico Hulkenberg is. Yeah, this really wasn't the best move for him, was it? He left a team. He left Force India for Sauber, and last year Sauber were doing well. They finished sixth in the championship, pretty close to Mercedes. I think they were, pretty close. So you might think he moved for the better, but looking from this, he's only scored 6 points this season, while the team 6 points. Their Sauber scored 6 points this season, while Force India have scored 57. I think. Again, don't quote me on this, but I think they have scored 57 points. So. And I got this from when I was watching the race. Martin Brundle said this. It seems Nico Hulkenberg's manager said, with Sauber, I see podiums. With Force India, I don't. I just see good points. This has gone pretty badly for him, hasn't it? Really not the best move to make. I don't know how it's going to impact his career, because the thing is, back markers, you have to say, back markers just don't get the attention unless they put in an amazing job. The thing is, for example, Paul di Resta, first year it was a solid job, but he got a bit more attention for it because he was in a car which is scoring points. That's sort of the thing. See, I think all the drivers are driving as hard as they can, but when you're in a car that's just doing better, you get more attention on you. So obviously that's better for your career, and it's more likely you're going to move up to a higher team. For example, Sergio Perez, he moved up from Sauber to McLaren. So not the best move from Nico Hulkenberg. I don't know how it's going to affect his career. I hope it doesn't affect it too badly because I like him. And we're coming to the end of this race. Hamilton won the race. Probably would have done in real life, I think, if his tire had blown out. I come across the line to finish second, way behind him. And Perez in third. That was unexpected, definitely. I think it was because I don't think I had that much pace on this track. I'm playing with all assists off Legend AI. I didn't have that much pace on this track. Perez finishes third. Vettel. So it was. If we're going, I'm gonna imagine we have 2013 teams here. It was a Mercedes 1-2, McLaren getting third, then Red Bull, Ferrari. I'll just make. What do I do with the other Mercedes? I don't care. Roman Grosjean, he's been out of the spotlight for a bit as well. He's fast. I'm pretty sure he's pretty fast. But I don't know, maybe he's being a bit conservative, trying not to crash into people. Didn't go that well on Sunday. He still crashed into someone. I don't think that was his fault, though. He was sort of forced into that situation. But I think he needs to up his game because Kimi Räikkönen is sort of wiping the floor with him. And then we have the Williams in 10th and 11th. And so on. And I do have a new series idea for you guys. What I was thinking is more or less, for example, this race I played as Nico Rosberg. Would you guys be interested in seeing me play a whole season as your favorite driver. Now I know they don't have that system in F1 2012 anymore, but I could keep the thing on a Excel spreadsheet and I could play. If you guys want to vote on what driver you want to see me play as, then I'd be willing to do it. And also, do you guys want to do more race reviews? I can do one for the German Grand Prix. I can do one for each race of the season. If you like this video, tell me if you want more race reviews. So, if you like the video, leave a like, subscribe if you want more of this type of content and other content. We cover a wide array of video games on our channel. So subscribe and you'll enjoy the content. Thank you for watching. Bye.